Oh, hi guys and girls, Emma again. Welcome back to the spare room. This is sort of one of those excuse videos. It's really only an answer to Chirpy's video posted today. Go and check out Chirpy's tinkerings if you don't follow him. He does some pretty cool stuff and he starts from scratch, which I don't always do, which I'm going to show you. He's pulled out a project he's been messing with for a little while, and it's a little Martin models, or it's a die filer that he's made patterns and castings for. This die filing machine's, it's something that sort of captures your imagination as being something quite useful. The project ends up being more complicated than you think, and you end up with some stuff ups and you've got to do things twice and you don't get back to it, and then you discover your machines aren't big enough to do the job, all those sort of things, and you end up putting it in the back of the cupboard, which is what I've done. And there's really no excuses for that, but I see a lot of these in the back of cupboards that haven't really ever been finished. There's not much more really to do to this when we look at it. I've just got all the castings. I've found the castings in the cupboard and figured around and think I've got everything that we need. I just thought I'd show you and show Chirpy because it might be of some interest. This is the table. I don't have a lathe big enough to turn this, and I don't have a shaper big enough to cut it. I don't have a milling machine big enough to cut the top of it. So at this point we're looking for another option, and probably I'm going to go to a friend's place and set this up and machine it. It's probably the only real way I can see to do it after I've machined this here and put the groove in it for the adjustment and everything. I don't know if it's particularly well designed, to be honest, just like that. I'd be interested to see what anyone else has done. This table sits on here. I might move this up a bit so you can see. This table sits on here with a hole in it. It's quite a solid bit of cast iron. To be honest, 3/16 steel plate would be a better job probably, but we might persevere with that. This is basically machined. I come up against not having a long enough drill, which I've actually bought a long drill to do that. So it's a matter of drilling and tapping that and putting grub screws in each one to hold this bush, which is adjustable. I may have been adjusting this reamer when I reamed this and discovered that one blade had fallen out when I got it to final size. So these bushes aren't real good. It's better than I sort of remember, but it does have a bit of a chop in it. It's a bit crunchy. It's sort of got an 8-sided hole in there. So really it needs a couple of new bushes. It's not a big job to put brass bushes back in there. The heat gets hot enough to knock those out, so the Loctite lets go and put new brass bushes in there. This is adjustable here with a couple of grub screws, and that gives us our depth here on the Scotch yoke, which is this piece that goes up and down there. And it's got a pin on it that works on the slide here. And it's got two bush top and bottom, which are little top hat bushes. They're pretty straightforward. And it's got a 7/16 rod, which is a little bit smaller than this, goes in and out there. And this clamps on it. And it's got a fitting on here for a file. And it's got a pulley on the other end. So there's not much to it. These are the drawings. Don't know if you can see that. I'll turn this light off, it might be clearer. There we go. That's the base, which we're sort of half done, and the pulley and the little Scotch yoke piece and the pin and the slider block, which goes on the pin and slides along the slot. and the shaft that goes up and down, which is 7/16 and about 6.5 inches long. There's a collar that retains the files, and the bushing, which I've already made. There's a little swarf guard that goes over the top to keep the dust out of the mechanism. And we seem to be missing a drawing with a table on it for some reason. Oh, there's a square table. There should be a round table drawing as well. But anyway, this was available with a square or a round table, and to be honest, the square table might have been a better option. But I chose the round one. It's about 6 inches diameter and it's pretty heavy. So this whole thing in cast iron is pretty solid. Martin Models supplied this one. It needs a bit of a clean up and putting together, and a stand made for an electric motor. But that's as far as I've got to, Chirpy. So you might have persuaded me or got me interested enough to get out and have a go at this again this year. There's probably not a whole lot to getting it finished. This is quite a basic part with the horizontal mill. It's very easy to do. This is just a pulley. That's very easy. It's not a huge deal with a crown on it. We need to fix these bushes. The biggest issue is the table and the way the table works and the locking system on it. The way it's drawn, it's got a groove in here, which probably, I guess, has got to be done on a rotary table with an angle plate. It's sort of an awkward thing. Whether I do that or whether I just put a row of holes, or whether I chop this off and put an angle piece, like a decent piece of angle line or something like that in there instead. Really not sure yet, but I might leave this on the bench or somewhere close by and we'll have another look at it soon. So that's all there is for tonight. I'm working all weekend. You may or may not get another video. I'm working on bits for the traction engine, and I'm working on the shaper bits for the clapper box. I'm also working on a boring bar or a boring bar holder for the multi-fix tool post, and I'm working on my little pantograph engraver. So these are all things that are happening, and I'm waiting for bits for all of them, so that's not much progress this weekend. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Might be of interest to someone. Promise that now I've got this out of the box and ready to go, I'll probably make some progress on it. So be kind to each other, and more soon.